I'm Matt, and I'm in another crawl space today. And this one, this one's on the water on a lake here. This house was built in the 1940s. And I got a call about a complaint on a smell in a crawl space. So here I am in the crawl space, and I see a number of issues. Number one, they don't have any, see that light over there, that little light dot? That's a vent, but the vent is down in the ground. You want the vents to be up high, so I'm going to recommend they move the vents and put them up between these floor joists, which will raise them up like, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet, where some wind can actually get in there. That one over there is actually below grade. It's down in the ground. Might not have always been that way, but over the years people build up the dirt because they had a flood here in the 70s and then in the 80s. So they build the dirt up around the house. Another issue they have here is this is visqueen on the ground, but you can see it's not everywhere on the ground. There's some here, but not here. The ground is soaking wet. See the ball up. When you pick up dirt in a crawl space, you should be able to drop it, and you'll just see dust. But this is not dust. This is just, you know, mud basically. I mean, a few days ago there was probably several inches of water in this whole crawl space. It hasn't rained in about a week now, but we had several good hard rains, and I think this whole thing was flooded out in here. So they need a sump pump too, and guess what? They used to have a sump pump. Here's a little pathetic bucket they put in the ground, and they drilled some holes in it to let the water in, and then up above here is the plug where they plugged it in, because the sump pump needs electricity, of course. So someone came along and removed it, and this also happens to be the low spot in here, so you know, that's where you would put your sump pump, of course, in the lowest spot. And then if you have any standing water around the rest of the crawl space, you don't have to put in a French drain or a weeping tile. You just basically dig a trench over to it so the water can run in there. So nothing, no big fancy deals. Just dig a trench. There's rotten wood in here. This is a rotten 2x4 from a long time ago. I don't know why it's in here, if it was part of the house, you know, I don't know, but it's not unusual to see pieces of rotten wood in a crawl space. And it rots and it gives off rotting fumes. Mold can grow on it. And that's like a dinner bell for wood-destroying insects. They can smell that just the way you can smell an apple pie cooking or some good hot cornbread cooking. And they come running because they smell it, and then you got a insect infestation in your house, wood-destroying insects or wood-destroying organisms, whatever they're calling it this week, you know. So, and then a lot of the plastic, this is plastic here, what's left of it, visqueen, we call it a vapor barrier, visqueen plastic sheeting. But see what terrible shape it's in? See, everything wears out, including plastic. So this needs to be replaced. So they need to, you know, more vents, remove the debris, including this ductwork actually isn't in use anymore. See this ductwork? They put in a boiler system, so this ductwork can come out if they want it to. I might leave it in here though, so you can put some air conditioning in. But anyway, more vents, remove the debris, especially the rotting wood, sump pump, vapor barrier on the ground. You know, so at least 5 things they could do to improve the situation here. And where's it at? Oh, I need to buy me some knee pads for this. See this right here? This is water too. See how dark it is? And it does not smell good either. So what happens, this flooded in here and the water got on top of the plastic. It got on top of the vapor barrier. So now it can't soak into the ground. So it does the opposite of what it's supposed to do. Instead of keeping moisture out of the house, it's keeping it in the house at this point. I've never seen a metal pier before. It's a metal pier. It's a piece of metal, and I'm assuming they filled it with concrete. Now the form is rusting out. That's concrete in there, so I'm not worried about it. But yeah, that water, when I stirred it up a little bit with my finger, it really smells funky now. So I can tell by looking at the top of this plastic, there's water stains in here, water marks and things. So I can tell that there's been water on top of this plastic over here too. And this is the high spot of the crawl space. So if there was water in the high spot, then there was water in this whole freaking crawl space, okay? Here's one of those underground vents. So I can actually feel a good breeze coming through here. You know, there's air coming through here. But this vent here is about, I don't know, 20 or 30% blocked up with cobwebs and debris. There's another one in the front that's like 90% blocked. But it would be so much nicer if they moved the vent up, because the dirt, the surface of the ground is right about here out there. So the air's got to turn and come down, and it is doing it right now. There's a good breeze coming off the lake. But it would be so much better if the vent was up here between the floor joists. That's a floor joist there that looks like a 2x12, which is great in this old house. So they put the vents array up here, and you'll get more air, and then you can put more of them in there. And it's easier to cut through the siding than it is to bust this block out, I think. And you can put vents in there, like in those glass block windows that have vents. You can put a vent in there that opens and closes from the outside, so you can open it in the summer and close it in the winter. They got a glass door on them, so you get some light in here. So here's some more standing water over here. There's about 7, 8, 10 places of standing water in here. So that's it. Typical crawl space issues on a house in Michigan on a lake. So if you have a house on a lake, you might want to look in your crawl space once in a while and see what's going on, because you may have some of these same issues. If you have a newer home, your crawl space would be much taller. Probably some nice pea gravel on the ground. Maybe even a concrete floor. But they all tend to have these sort of issues. Anyway, that's it. I'm Matt Fletcher, and I own Belle Isle Engineering. And we inspect buildings. 313-510-0284.